Says no renegotiation of nuclear deal.
Good evening, good evening. It is 5 p.m. and time for Whose Opinion Is It Anyway? With Candace.
And Victor.
We are live right here at 92.1 FM WFOV. And Vic was having a hard time staying focused today. Once again, we're going to play What's in His Cup.
What's in my cup?
What's in his cup?
I'm just vibing off the sound effects, that's all.
You know, there have been a lot of new dispensaries that have been added around here, so
Have there?
I'm wondering what you're vibing off of.
Well, like I always say, this is my friendly cup of coffee. Mocha. You know, mocha latte.
Sure. Now, is that a special infused blend?
It's infused with sugar
Sure.
and a little bit of cream and a dash of caramel. That's it. That's it.
Did you drop anything green in there?
No. No. I dropped some green to buy it. Some green dollars. Some green backs.
Yeah,
Some cheddar. Some cheese.
Sure.
Well, it's good to have you back, Candace.
I know, right? It's exciting. Listen.
I was about to change the marquee. You know me, man. My name, what do you call me? What's the temptation? David Ruffin?
David Ruffin. Man.
I'm David Ruffin, and she is.
Now, I want you to recall what David Ruffin ended up saying as they walked out that door. You know I was just playing, right? You don't really want to be David Ruffin, Vic. You don't really want to be David.
Nobody want to come hear you sing Otis.
Right. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. That's how David was rolling.
Oh, my goodness.
Otis showed all of them, though. He had temptation without
He's
all
still
of them.
there. He's still there, man. You gotta watch the quiet ones,
Yeah.
man. He was the brains behind the whole outfit.
He was.
You know?
And that's why every time he decided somebody wasn't a temptation anymore.
Yeah, no doubt. It was gone.
Right.
Exit.
Right.
Stage left. Even.
Right.
No doubt.
Otis Williams and the Temptation.
No doubt.
Man.
They might want to know what we're laughing at, you know?
You know, it's quite a windy day today, right?
Yes, it is.
And so, because, and the wind has really been just blowing some things around, taking some things out, and it blew away our window here. And apparently Paul went chasing it down the street and he wasn't able to find it. So, we're going to hope that Paul finds the window.
No doubt.
And that Vic stops looking outside. Hopefully a squirrel doesn't join us or something. We should be all right.
Or a bird. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Or a fruit bat. What I be tonight.
So, yeah, hopefully that works out. But we have a pretty good show this evening. I'm excited about it. I know that we have a couple of political races that are coming up, and we were supposed to talk about those things. And I'm sure that we will get to those things.
Yes.
However, there were a couple of things that transpired since the last time that I've been here.
Absolutely.
Man, pop culture is something else, right?
Oh, my goodness. It's
Just
amazing.
saying.
It's amazing. Talking about Yeezy? You referring to Yeezy?
Listen,
Yeezy?
He just recently made some comments.
Yes.
That, were... I don't even know what to call them.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what to call them now.
No question.
You let him tell it. He used to be addicted to opioids, but he's off now.
Goodness.
No, so he showed up at the studios of TMZ.
Yes.
And he decided to, I can't even say give an interview because they weren't interviewing him. He showed up and started talking.
Yeah.
And he had a lot of different things to say. Some of the, amongst them, the most controversial thing that he had to say was that if you were a slave for 400 years, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said 400 years of slavery was a choice.
Was a choice?
Was a choice.
Wow.
Like after 400 years and you're still a slave, it's because you chose that. Like you wanted that life. You didn't want out.
Oh, that's crazy.
And so, as you can imagine, that's been something that's caused a lot of people to be up in arms. That's caused a lot of think tank discussions, if you will. You've got the super duper duper. Notice I said duper woke community that agrees with him.
The super duper woke community
you gotta be
agrees
super,
with him.
You gotta be super duper woke for that one. You know?
Wow. My goodness.
Right, you got to be so woke that you fell back asleep. So I agree with that one, you know. And so they're standing in agreement with Kanye as far as, you know.
It's the Matrix, right?
Yeah.
It's the Matrix.
And then, you know, you've got those people. I am shocked because normally people only say this when it comes to, what's your president's name? Professor Trump?
Oh, what? Professor Trump?
You know, he's educating the masses.
He's educating the masses.
He is educating the masses.
Leading them to the promised land,
Leading
right? Is that what it
somewhere.
is? Well, I think that, there's a couple things going on here, right? Number one, look, we got to contextualize this. Now, anybody who's been following hip-hop and popular culture knows that Kanye has fallen off over the past few years. He's taken a number of different L's.
Absolutely.
A number of different L's in the business, outside of the business, and so forth. So I think what has happened in part, in as far as hip-hop is concerned, he was knocked off his square. And let me just say a couple names here. Can you say Drake? Can you say Kendrick Lamar? Can you say J. Cole? Can you say the Migos and whatnot? So we have persons who have moved into his space, right? Mm-hmm. And we can argue, no matter what you think about Drake's lyrical content and so forth, his presentation, whether or not his music is fluff or whatever, but from a commercial standpoint, Drake has moved into Kanye's space. All right? Okay. And Kanye, see, we know this also. The crowd is fickle. I don't care what context you're putting it in. Whether you're talking about the political domain, whether you're talking about the religious domain, or whatever the case may be, the entertainment domain, the crowd is fickle. And you might think that people are riding with you, but they're not riding with you because you happen to be the flavor of the month. That's it. See, what can happen to people is that they think simply because they're popular right now, and we know that fame and popularity are fleeting, right? They're fleeting, right? Even fortune can be fleeting. And I think this is in part what Kanye is dealing with here, right? So that's the first thing. That's one thing we can talk about here. But he's also, now he is a master of using the social media also. Number two.
This is the thing though.
Right? And he got people talking. He's got everybody talking, Candace.
Right, but I mean, just because I talk, it's sort of like what they say in elections. You can see a million yard signs, but yard signs don't vote. And it's the same thing with talking. We can talk about you all day, but talking doesn't necessarily equate to music sales.
Well, true. But doesn't he have a new release that's coming out with T.I.? Right?
It already came out.
And what do you think about it? They're going back and forth regarding this issue essentially. So this is a PR stunt too. This is PR. This is marketing. This is what this is as well.
He's doing a horrible job though, because the thing that you don't understand is that he's insulted his base.
Part of his base. He may have a new base now.
I did hear some people argue that point of, because he's not getting the record sales that he normally gets from the black community or from the urban community, that now he's switched over and he wants to kind of pull in those sales.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You got to understand too, though, while you might have a few people who follow Trump and the Trump mindset who may not be racist, I think for the most part that audience isn't really going to like him either. Or they might download him and give him some clicks just to.
There are young people who support Trump, though.
I'm just saying, though. And then they might also take his music to support the fact that, see, even this black man is saying.
Well, they're doing that. That's the next point there, though. Yeah. See, because Kanye has entered into the cultural wars. That's what's been going on for a number of years here. The culture wars, right? So now you have people from the alt-right who are embracing Kanye, and they're using his statements as a smokescreen. Right. So if he said it, if this black guy said it, hey, it's cool. I didn't say it. He said it. Slavery was a choice.
I mean, but that's always their excuse to say the N-word in music. I was just singing a song.
That too.
So yeah,
absolutely.
But I think, as stupid as his comments were, it gives way to another conversation that needs to be had. But I'm gonna put a pin there. Okay. But I'm gonna go back to what he said. It's the simple fact that, and we all know that everyone was not bought over here as slave. A lot of people are native and were already here. But if everyone, but then you got to think about, a lot of the natives were then enslaved. Yes. So if everyone took the mindset of, I'm just going to go ahead and die rather than be a slave, or we'll fight to the death rather than be a slave, a lot of us wouldn't even be here.
Yeah, true.
Like,
no doubt.
Think that through. And I get their point of there were so many slaves that they could have revolted. But then you also got to keep in mind that when people say that, you look at society today, there's nothing new under the sun. So you have to think about the fact that there aren't too many free thinkers today. So what would make you think back then that, you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
in their minds, you're presenting them with life or death, and a lot of people will do what it takes to live, and we see that today.
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
So it's like we have to be realistic.
Absolutely.
And saying, we know everyone's not a fighter. We also know, what did Harriet Tubman say? How many slaves did she free, and how many more would she have freed had they known they were slaves?
No doubt about that.
So, I mean...
Oh, absolutely, no question.
Let's be realistic. And I think that it was an irresponsible statement.
Yeah.
And I'll say that's being polite. That it was an irresponsible statement. And I think also it was insensitive. And I just, it's unimaginable to me it was a bit callous of 400 years a slave. You wanted to be a slave? Come on now.
You think so?
Yeah.
Did he really mean that, though? Did he really mean that?
Now you sound like the Trumpsters who come through and be like, well, he said that, but he meant this. And it's like, we can speculate all day about what you meant, but you said what you said.
Yeah.
So let's deal with what you said, and then later we'll examine it, how you could have meant it. Because like I said, I've heard plenty of other conversations of how, and like I said, and these are the kind of conversations that do need to take place. In the simple fact that if you want to speak to a mindset today of there are more choices, more options, more things you can do to be free and maintain that freedom. There are more areas in which we should fight economically and stuff in which we do not. We could have that conversation.
Absolutely.
But a conversation that I personally am just looking at like, meh, get out of here is you wanted to be a slave. I can't. I can't.
So then, Candace, is he alluding to this idea of agency? Is that what he's getting at here? When he says, okay, look, black people have been here for 400 years. We were enslaved for 400 years, right? And we did nothing.
So this is what we'll do.
Isn't he alluding to agency or the lack thereof?
This is what we'll do. We'll assume we're still dealing with a coherent Kanye.
Well, I mean,
so from the assumption that we're still dealing with a coherent Kanye, I will say agency. We can look at that.
But look at this though. But check this out. Here's Kanye. I mean, we love you, Kanye. That's my disclaimer. But here's Kanye, who grew up in a middle-class existence.
Right.
His mother was, I think his father and his mother were professors. I know his mother was a professor, and I believe she was a professor of Africana Studies at a university and whatnot, right? So it's not as if he was not exposed to the history, the information and whatnot, right? That's why I wonder about some of the things that he's doing here. I think he's just trying to push buttons, but we'll get to that point later on. But I think what we have here is a misreading, certainly, of the historical record. And it's an oversimplification of a horrific institution. We're talking about the institution of slavery, which is not only relegated to black people, but it's a universal practice. It has always been a universal practice. As heinous as slavery is, you've had Europeans enslaved. You got Europeans in slavery right now. You got Africans in slavery right now. Can anybody say Libya? You got Asians in slavery right now. You got people across the board who are it got people in Genesee County right now as we speak, Candace, who are in slavery right now. Right? The human trafficking industry, right? That's the new form of slavery right now, right? So I think when we go back to our enslavement era, Kanye is giving